Why don't we ever see any green aliens? Because they're already living among us. Or at least they were in the 12th century. Welcome back, folks. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Now, let's get down to business. Today we're pulling back the curtain on a peculiar tale from the annals of history, the Green Children of Woolpit. Picture this. It's the 12th century in Woolpit, England. The people are going about their daily business when suddenly, two children with green skin appear, seemingly out of nowhere. They speak a language no one recognizes and claim to hail from an underground world. Sounds like a plot from a science fiction novel, doesn't it? But this, my dear listeners, is no fiction. This is a story steeped in mystery, intrigue, and a fair share of green. So buckle up because we're about to dive deep into the rabbit hole of the Green Children of Woolpit. So, let's set the scene. The year is somewhere around the 12th century, in the quaint village of Woolpit, England. Picture this, a countryside dotted with thatched cottages, and folks going about their daily grind, probably complaining about the price of hay or something. Now, Woolpit wasn't exactly a bustling metropolis. It was just a typical medieval village, where the most exciting event was probably the annual sheep-shearing festival. But Woolpit was about to get its 15 minutes of fame, or rather, its centuries-long mystery. This story is brought to us by none other than two esteemed gents of the 12th century, William of Newburgh and Ralph of Coggeshall. William was an English historian, and Ralph was an abbot, and they both loved a good story. It's like they were the medieval version of podcasters, only instead of microphones they had quills and a whole lot of parchment. These two were the primary sources documenting this bizarre tale, and they didn't skimp on the details. They were like the TMZ of their time, only their gossip was about green-skinned children, not celebrities. So William and Ralph wrote about this strange event in their historical chronicles, and they didn't just mention it in passing, they gave us the full scoop, the whole enchilada, well, you get the point. Now you might be wondering, why should we trust these two? Well, in the 12th century, historians were the go-to guys for recording important events. And let's face it, green children mysteriously appearing in your village? That's pretty important. But here's the thing. Their accounts, while detailed, weren't identical. It's like when you and your best friend recount that wild night out. You both remember the main events, but the details, well, they can get a little fuzzy. Just like our mystery here. And right in this setting, our story begins with a mysterious event that would puzzle historians for centuries. Imagine being a Woolpit villager, going about your day, when suddenly, you spot two children with a peculiar green hue to their skin. Now let me tell you, these weren't your garden variety children with a bad case of the green apple quickstep. Oh no, these kiddos were green from head to toe. If you thought your last St. Patrick's Day outfit was committed, then let me tell you, these two had you beat by a country mile. They stumble into the village looking as lost as a cat in a dog show, their clothes made from a material no one in the village has ever seen before. Picture this. Folks are gathering around these emerald munchkins, their jaws dropping lower than a snake's belly in a wagon rut. Now if you think the green skin was a brain boggler, wait until you hear about their lingo. They open their mouths and out comes a string of sounds that has everyone scratching their heads. It's like trying to understand a teenager's text messages, only with fewer emojis and more confusion. No one, not even the village wise woman who once deciphered a rooster's crow, could make heads or tails of it. But the quirkiness doesn't stop there. Oh no, we're just getting started. You'd think these green beans would be famished after their mysterious journey, right? The villagers offer them bread, cheese, even the local tavern's best ale, but they just shake their heads. Then, someone has a brainwave. They bring forth a bowl of raw beans, the only thing greener than our little visitors. And would you believe it? The children's eyes light up like a Christmas tree and they dig in as if they've hit the culinary jackpot. And just when you thought things couldn't get any weirder, they refuse to eat anything but raw beans. So next time you're thinking of hosting an alien, remember folks, always keep a stash of raw beans handy. You never know when you might need them. So, we've got two green kids who only eat beans. Sounds like the setup for a great joke, doesn't it? But, as it turns out, our emerald duo's taste for legumes started to wane after a while. Yes, folks, they began to eat other food besides beans. And you thought getting your kids to eat their veggies was a challenge. As they started munching on more than just beans, something miraculous happened. Their skin began to lose that greenish tint. Slowly but surely they started to look like regular non-green children. Maybe Popeye was onto something when he said spinach makes you strong, but it seems like a diet of only beans makes you green. But life had a twist in store for our green siblings. The boy, unfortunately, didn't make it. Yes, friends, he succumbed to an unknown ailment and left his sister alone in this strange, sunlit world. It was a sad day indeed. Now the girl was left to navigate life in this unfamiliar land on her own. But as they say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and that's precisely what happened to her. She learned to speak English. That's right, from a diet of beans to speaking the Queen's language, she was full of surprises. And speaking of surprises, oh boy, did she have a big one in store. Once she had a grasp of the language, she started sharing their story, the story of their origin. And let me tell you, it was not your typical "we moved from the next town over" kind of story. No, it was far more intriguing than that. She began to speak of a world unlike any we know, a world that was, to put it mildly, out of this world. A world that was dark and, believe it or not, entirely underground. Now how's that for a plot twist? And what she revealed about their origin was something no one saw coming. So buckle up, folks, because we're about to dive into the depths of this underground world in the next scene. You won't want to miss it. Ever heard of a land where everything, including the sun, is green? Sounds like a leprechaun's paradise, right? Well, let's dive into the rabbit hole, or should I say, the molehill. According to the Green Girl of Woolpit, her homeland was an underground world where everything was tinted a vibrant green. The sun, the trees, the rivers, and even the people. Must have been a lot of spinach down there, huh? This subterranean realm was said to be perpetually twilight, with a sun that hung in the sky like a dimly lit emerald. Can you imagine that? Living under a green sun that never sets but never quite brightens the day either. Gives a whole new meaning to the phrase "green with envy," doesn't it? Now, as for their journey to Woolpit, it was nothing short of a fairy tale, or maybe a bedtime story gone awry. The siblings were herding their father's cattle when they stumbled upon a cavern, and like any good adventurers they ventured in. But this was no ordinary spelunking trip. Upon entering the cavern they heard the ringing of bells, so enchanting, so compelling they felt drawn towards the sound. But when they emerged they found themselves in Woolpit, a world unlike their own. A world where the sun was a bright, burning yellow, and where the people didn't have a hint of green about them, except maybe on St. Patrick's Day. The mystery surrounding their journey and their origins is something that has puzzled historians, scientists, and conspiracy theorists alike for centuries. Was it a case of chlorosis, a condition that causes green pigmentation in the skin? Or was it an elaborate prank by some 12th century pranksters? Or maybe, just maybe, there's a hidden world beneath our feet, waiting to be discovered. And that, my friends, is the baffling tale of the Green Children of Woolpit. It's a tale that reminds us, whether underground or overground, reality can often be stranger than fiction. So, what do we make of this? Was it a case of severe malnutrition, a folktale gone wild, or evidence of a parallel universe? There are as many theories as there are shades of green. Some historians believe that the children were Flemish immigrants, possibly orphaned and suffering from hypochromic anemia, which could explain their greenish hue. Others hold fast to the idea that this was a folktale, a morality play of sorts, with the green skin symbolizing their alien status. And then there are the sci-fi enthusiasts who, over a cup of green tea, will passionately argue that the children were indeed from an underground parallel universe, just like the mole people from classic comic books, only less mole-ish and more spinach-like. So grab your detective hats, folks. What's your theory? Are you team medical condition, medieval story time, or mole people? Whatever the truth may be, it's a story that has certainly left its green mark on history. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video and subscribe for more fascinating tales. Until next time.